Welcome back to the Analog Dungeon. Here's part 2 of our 3-part episode, Tomb of the Lizard King.
The Robin's Breast Inn. Roadside Inn immediately noticed only 15 people in this tavern room that's supposed to be usually packed with travelers. It shouldn't be super surprising considering, there's no other people on the road because
there's been road trouble.
There are lizards literally freaking yanking people off the road and taking them to Sakatha.
The civilian merchant demographic has plummeted. All of their normally soused out mercenaries that would be pre-spending their paychecks here, getting drunk and hitting on Robin, who, by the way, Robin, 75-year-old waitress and proprietress, absolutely just wrinkled as a prune, as hard as oak wood, refuses to take shit off anyone, is 1000% a pack-a-day Pall Mall smoker. But god damn if she's not going to be the best thing that's happened to these players so long as they are polite.
So they roll in. The innkeeper, not Robin. I have to tell you the innkeeper's name. I don't know what Mark Akers had against standard D&D parlance names, because everybody knows. My character's name is Floran. My character's name is Max John. You make up some shit.
It's a random portmanteau of various Y's, H's, and apostrophes.
Right, and apostrophes, right. The innkeeper's name is William Brightboy.
Aww.
Of the Boston Bright Boys.
Oh, poor Bright Boy. He winds up out in the middle of the woods where his high school bullies can't follow him.
What's the matter, Bright Boy?
What's the matter, Bright Boy? Go pour me an ale, Bright Boy. You better keep that apron white, Bright Boy. You're just going to be an innkeeper in the middle of nowhere someday, waiting on a bunch of adventurers to come along and dump their payloads all over you before disappearing into the swamp of Sakatha. Get a swirly, Bright Boy.
There's one guy in the room that you're going to take notice of, and it is a bard. The bard's name is a wandering minstrel, not a bard. I don't want to use incorrect terminology.
Those unions have been at it for so long. We cannot afford the litigation.
Call a minstrel a bard, and you never get out of court. The minstrel's name is Pluck. No jokes needed. Pluck will approach the party and offer tossing a song or two in exchange for a few pieces of silver. If specifically asked about local lore and stories, because I know you were about to say, do you have any local lore of stories? He will offer to perform the Ballad of Sakatha.
See, this is the kind of behavior that is best associated with the salespeople at Sephora in the mall. When you walk in the door and it's instantly like, oh dear God, it's not the same 5 people who show up here every single other week. It's actually someone who's brand new, and you get pounced by that super overly, oh, I like your hair, I like your shirt, I like your shoes, I like this, I like that. It's just, he's constantly just like, hey, looking for a song, you got some story? Hey, how about rumors? I got rumors. How about some intro? You got some information? Hey, you looking for something like Sakatha? I got your Sakatha info right here, buddy.
When he says Sakatha, everybody in the tavern that's not you turns on him immediately.
Because he said it a billion times before now, and they're fucking sick and tired of hearing for it, and they want him to shut the fuck up.
They're telling him, let evil lie sleeping, you fool. And why invite more trouble? Stick to your silly songs and leave us in peace. He will play this ballad despite the customer's displeasure, provided the party can convince Bright Boy, who will also be very upset. So if you really want to hear the Ballad of Sakatha, you have to probably pay Bright Boy to allow it to be played. Though I would argue, maybe find the third way, take him outside and let him play it away from the tavern. But, who's going to think of that?
Someone turn that bard to something that's wholesome and pure, like Fox News. God damn it, why do we have to keep listening to this nonsense? This fake news. This Sakatha's fake news, I swear. You must get him out here.
I'm sorry, did you just call that man Bard? I'm from the Minstrels Union, you son of a bitch. So
clearly
we
the
are
smart thing to do is not murder everyone in the tavern like they're an old man just
Yes.
asking for directions, and instead take the minstrel outside and offer for a
That's what I
private,
would do.
here minstrel, we'll pay you extra for a private session.
Private session. So here is the Ballad of Sakatha. And I'm not going to say, no, I will. Okay. The Ballad of Sakatha. Once was the great lizard king, we've established this, said to have power stored in a ring. O'er swamplands and plains lands his dominions they spread. His very name filled all creatures with dread. To build his great tomb in the midst of the marsh, many men died in slavery most harsh, as opposed to the non-harsh slavery. His minions took all of our best for his altar. Not for a day did his bloody thirst falter. Oh, Pluck, you wordsmith. Then there arose the great Count of Eeyore. The latest okay, so Eeyore is rhymes. Okay, the great Count of God. Now you can't even. It is Welsh. We really can't.
No, is it your like YOR is how it's supposed to be pronounced?
It rhymes with your, but it's just EOR.
Yeah.
The Count of Or. I guess just or probably.
What if? Oh God! What if it's like, okay, instead of or, it's more like like you're pronouncing it like right. Like the Count of the Count of air.
Count of air.
Yeah, that's
the great.
We're gonna get to the etymology of this sooner or later. Don't worry.
Yes, we're gonna figure it out. So then there arose the great Count of Or, the greatest of heroes in those days of yore. He slew Sakatha in the battle of Waycombe. The lizard men carried their slaughtered chief home. And now he awaits in the cold sleep of death, his day of awakening, his first newborn breath. Though deep in the ground his followers closed him, he'll come back for vengeance on those who opposed him. Legend.
Yeah, first off, excellent rhyme on closed and opposed. Did not see that coming.
Yes.
Very nice. Finger snaps all around for Pluck the Bard.
Though I feel like as I read it, I kind of should have read it like a Beastie Boys song because I feel like that works a little bit better. To build this great tomb in the midst of the marsh. Many men died in his slavery most harsh.
Okay, so I have to share this. So I went Googling the Ballad of Sakatha in order to see if anyone out there has actually covered this or has information on it, and they did. There's a guy.
Awesome.
There's a guy named Steve Messenger who has a YouTube channel, and 5 years ago posted a video playing on a lute the Ballad of Sakatha.
Oh my God.
But here's the thing. When I pull this up, the Google result has the Ballad of Sakatha, and underneath it as a description, beautiful new gospel worship songs 2024, top contemporary Christian music with lyrics, Worship Warriors Network. We're out here evangelizing the Ballad of Sakatha in the year of our Lord 2020.
Since the 80s, the Church of Sakatha has really changed. They've gotten rid of some of their more problematic beliefs, like murdering the Count of Or and all who opposed Sakatha.
Specifically using elderly gentlemen as their greeters.
Yes. They're now a much more moderate, much more restrained cult of the Church of Prosperity. They would like to tell you how their Lord and Savior can teach you how to make as much gold as you want. All it requires is a very small donation as a seed towards your future fortune. Come
for the money laundering, stay for the eternal life.
If for some reason you convince him to play this in the tavern, everybody leaves. They just get up and walk out. William Brightboy is really not happy. He is whining and complaining. It requires a few gold pieces to stop his whining and complaining. I assume it might also require, I don't know, killing him.
Would that potentially be described as sniveling?
I mean, he feels sniveling, yes. So after the ballad, and after you do whatever you're going to do with Pluck, who I guess will just hang out in the empty tavern. I mean, taverna's yours now. You could start your own tavern if you wanted to. This game could completely go off into left field and become effectively tavern sim. But assuming you want to continue on the adventure now, you will continue on the road. You may want to do another one of those encounters that we had before, the random encounters. But then you will come to a place called the Great Bridge. And on the Great Bridge, this is where your first actual planned encounter along the road happens. You have come to a place where the road runs right alongside the River Ardo. In the distance, about 300 yards ahead, you can see the bridge where the river curves and crosses under the road. Yeah. The banks of the road on the riverside are covered with rich growth of water weeds. Now, so you're going to go over the road, or you're going to go over the bridge, and you're going to be ambushed by a party of 20 lizard men. These lizard men are the more intelligent variety. I didn't realize they came in varieties. Mm-hmm. I mean, I knew they all did. They were all special individually, but like you have intelligent lizard men and dumb lizard men, I guess.
Well, it's kind of like
they're armed with
lizard folk have long been. There's lots of different ways in which you could basically describe lizard folk, right? Like you later get troglodytes. There's Naga, obviously. Very, very different kinds of creatures. Like they're not the same at all. But yeah, having some that are just like, here are lizard folk that seem more humanoid, who seem more intelligent, that are calling out commands. That sounds like Naga to me. Yeah.
Well, lizard men of all stripe are welcome in the Church of Sakatha. They're armed with clubs, they have javelins, they have shields. So they ambush your party. Again, there's 20 of them lurking in the water. They will try to capture any magic user in the party and kill the rest of the characters. Prisoners are taken, say it with me now, directly to
Sakatha. There is no chance for escape. Yeah.
There's no chance for escape.
I have to apologize. I was using, this is a shameful moment for me. I was calling them Naga, and what I meant was Yonti.
Yeah, Yonti.
Yeah, because Yonti have lots of different forms, and some are definitely more advanced and intelligent than others. Yeah.
You have the top half pretty lady Yonti, though they're technically more snake-like. The top half pretty lady Yonti, then the bottom half human, top half snake face. Right.
And then you have the almost entirely just giant scary Snurpin.
Yeah. The greater or whatever sort of the auntie. Yep. So if the encounter goes against the lizard men, they prefer death to capture. They speak an anger of their own, or they speak a language of their own. Basically, you can't catch one of these guys and force them to tell you what you want to learn, which is just a way of saying, don't help your players here. A little bit further ahead down the road, and again, we could be running into more and more of these encounters. Also, you remember earlier in the audience chamber how we were talking about there being some feeling in one of the magic users that something may have been watching them.
Right.
You might have gotten another couple of those messages as the time goes by, as you continue on this journey.
But we killed the old man, so I don't understand how.
Yes. And they continue unabated if you roll high enough on your secret checks that you don't know are going on. Our next stop is the Great Split Oak. There is, against the Great Split Oak, a human figure apparently asleep reclining against the trunk of the tree. This figure is Barto Trume. Trume is wearing battered chainmail and shield and is carrying his longsword. He is clearly wearing the colors of the Count de War. He's just asleep. Just sitting by a tree.
He's just asleep by a tree.
He's just asleep. He's just sitting there.
He's just sitting there. He's just a sleepy guy.
He's napping. He's sleepy. He's a sleepy boy.
He's a little eepy boy.
Napping. Yeah, he's a little eepy boy. He's just the guy that you may have been looking for, just having a little siesta. The little burrow under a coconut tree.
Perrin is not fooled. Perrin has not been fooled once this entire time. Perrin would have really exercise caution against Azer committing the Emperor's justice against that old man. But here Perrin is just like...
It couldn't possibly be.
Right. Perrin is just like...
It couldn't possibly be that they gave you exactly what you're looking for. Because again, you thought last time with the old man they gave you exactly what you were looking for.
No.
It was a swerve.
See, Perrin would have thought, man, I just knew, like, the fire blast, the trap, the flame strike in the capital, the sniveling merchants that were all died. All this was a big con to get us to kill that old man. He knows what's up.
So you approach Barto Treme. Or the characters approach Barto Treme.
I mean, I have a feeling some of the characters would. I think Perrin would be like, I'm going to stay out of rock throwing range. Y'all do what you want.
Sure. Understood. So, but they're going to talk to Barto Treme, and Treme asks who the party is.
Yep.
Greatly relieved to learn, if you tell him, which you probably don't, but if they tell him, I'm working for the Count. And so you're gonna have questions. He's like, I'm so glad you guys are here.
We need,
and so Treme gives you this information.
Yeah.
His men were attacked by brigands, and the entire troop was either scattered, captured, or slain.
Yep.
The attacks began when a little old man approached the head of the column and asked for directions. The next thing he knew, his men were fleeing in panic. Brigands were pouring out of the fields nearby, and he was deeply involved in the battle. He fought to the last, but he was taken prisoner along with 4 others. He alone managed to escape and has come this far on foot. So Treme tells but he knows where the brigands' base is. And so he will tell you, and this is a word I'm going to learn. He will tell the players their base is in a small copse near a large field behind the inn in Waycombe. So you gotta continue on to Waycombe, not the Robin's Breast Inn, but into Waycombe. There is an inn and there's a big field. He says. There's maybe 40 brigands in all, plus one guy who seemed like some kind of a cleric. And that's all the information he has for you.
But so far he's just been on the lam, surviving off the land, being a regular
100%.
Kind of.
And he'll tell you. He gives you all that information.
Yeah,
100%, and all that information, and then he says his first duty is to go back to Vendare and report back to the Count. And he has to do this for certain. But if you want him to send aid back to the party, then he will do that. He will send you back more people if again, any NPCs that you brought are now in anthills with their feet sticking out the top of it somehow. He'll send back some
We're down
folks.
20 porters, 15 hirelings. A dozen fighting men. We still have our 30 water bearers, the 5 mechanics for the Ford Astro, which does not do well on overland terrain like this. So we definitely
it really
could
needs
use
asphalt or cement.
We definitely could use another additional dozen porters, an extra 10 fighting men, and preferably like a page or 3. And I think that will get us there.
I mean, he's willing to send back as much aid as he can if you guys help him out, and he'll be on his way.
And the fact that you managed parties like this without spreadsheets back in the day, insane.
Right? So provided, that's what you get. Location of brigand hideout, and your next stop is the village of Waycombe. So you continue on to the village of Waycombe. It lies in a shallow depression on the north side of a main highway. To the south, the ground slopes sharply to the southern swamp. It was once a prosperous village, but its appearance now tells you immediately that is not the case. 28 peasants' huts are scattered in clusters, and they're all but 5 of them have been burned down. So it's just devastation, right? There's one building of note, a large wooden structure facing the main highway. Behind it is a large field, and near the field stands a good-sized copse. I'm assuming a copse is like a small grouping of trees?
Yes, COPSE. Okay. They definitely don't beat and potentially kill innocent civilians.
Yes, it's not a good size cop.
Next time on Cops, real
Yeah.
Beechwood action. And it's just trees. It's just trees. They're just there.
So where do you go?
We're definitely going to be checking out any surviving or standing structures for sure.
Sure. So you do find an inn. In the inn, you find there's a fat, described as a fat, grubby fellow named Busby. He has a small dagger. He's packing his shit and leaving. He's got his family who are haggard and scared. Presuming you're not assholes to him, which at this area you might be, he will give you some information along with 6 bottles of wine that he has remaining on his shelves as he packs up his mugs. Here's the information you get from Busby, the fleeing innkeeper. The first brigand raids began around 3 months ago, so that answers your question as to when this. So it's been going on for 3 months, so it's pretty serious.
Yeah.
Raids have increased in frequency and intensity in the last several weeks. The brigands have burned most of the village. Doesn't really need to be said. You saw it, but it happened.
Right.
The brigands usually strike at night. During their night raids, they have carried off many villagers as prisoners, men, women, and children. Most men flee in panic when the brigands attack. There have been other strange things going on about which it is best not to talk. If pressed, which of course you're going to press him because that's the way this works, Busby will admit to seeing a large, strangely shaped beast flying over the village at night. There have been tales among some of the villagers about the lizard men returning to their old lands in the Great Southern Swamp. He's the last person in the village and is losing as soon as his packing is finished. His family and his hired hands have already left, so hopefully they're still alive. And the final piece of information. There is one old man who lives in a hut by the edge of the Great Southern Swamp.
Does he or
man,
did he past tense?
This old man will not leave, but everyone knows that he is hopelessly insane.
Azur's gonna go walk over. I'm tired of teaching this lesson, old man.
So that's everything you get out of Busby before he rolls on. So we're getting to the end of part 1 of this, but there are kind of 2 things that can go on here, and I think you can probably guess what those 2 things might be.
Yeah.
So, what is Russell? You are the party. This is a choose your own adventure.
Mm-hmm.
With the information you have now, what do you do? Where do you go?
I think we have to go clearly eliminate the locus of evil, which is the crazy old man that the village should have rightly executed long ago. If we're going by medieval standards of justice, we're going to find the old man.
So you're gonna go find the old man. Okay, he has a tiny hut by the edge of the Great Swamp. You hear a sing-song chanting coming from inside the hut. You also see smoke rising from the hole in the roof of the hut. A sure sign that there is a fire inside. Inside the hut, and again, what do we say about Mark Akers and naming things?
Oh boy.
Is Stephen Demanis.
Steven.
Stevie boy.
We have a Stephen of the swamp.
The old man referred to by Busby as hopelessly insane. He is unarmored, but he carries a large knife.
But what?
So how do you approach?
Unarmored. I thought you were like he's unarmed but carrying a large knife. It's like wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Unarmored, but he has a big knife. I mean, he's got to cut things.
No, yeah,
it's his home after all. So how do you approach Crazy Steve?
This is definitely Azur's role as the mom friend,
Sure.
who's just gonna walk in straight up, and just figure out what's his deal, man.
So Steve, I've got to say, so I'm gonna get this out of the way first. This is not the old man that has been. This is Decoy Old Man 2.
I mean, come on, we've already killed Decoy Old Man 1. Sooner or later, the numbers have got to hit. She's not looking to kill him. She's just looking to get questions answered.
Sure, but this is just for your note.
This is just a crazy man.
I love it so much. It's just a crazy old man.
He's just a crazy. See?
But there's more to his crazy Steven than just that. But he is not the guy, which will become apparent if you talk to him and not go in and murk him, just assuming.
No, she's not gonna just straight up. She's already done that once.
Well, think about other players.
No, true.
Who would just be like, another old man, let's kill this one too. Steve is a hermit, but not by choice. He adopted his current lifestyle when the villagers would no longer tolerate his eccentric ways.
What exactly are his eccentric ways? I'm almost embarrassed and scared to ask.
As the party approaches, they will hear him chanting a sing-song verse. They all thinks I'm crazy, so crazy I am, but I'll still be here when they ain't what they am. They'll all be taken to Sakatha's lair, but me and I'll be free as a bird in the air.
So this is your Oracle of Doom. The end is nigh, crazy man.
He's basically saying that yes, that they'll all be taken to see his friend Sakatha. But he will be free as a bird in the air. He wears tattered green rags.
He's singing.
He's just singing at the top of his lungs. He constantly says things aloud like, I wonder why the snakes in my hair will never comb it. Where have all the pretty buggies gone? And there are only ugly bugs now. It is a pity.
So this is absolutely government check drawn crazy man. This is absolutely just...
He is exactly what it says on the tin.
He's the misanthrope of the village.
He is exactly what it says on the tin. Now, you're going to, of course, ask him about Sakatha. And these are the things that Crazy Steve will tell you about that topic.
Crazy Steve, destroyer of efficient sessions. Crazy Steve, the entire back half of your 4-hour D&D session Sunday afternoon with nothing to show for it.
To get through. Yes, I would play up Crazy Steve as much as possible.
Right.
Number 1, Sakatha, the Great Lizard King, has returned. Number 2, Sakatha is planning to renew his kingdom. Number 3, Sakatha is not dead. Number 4, Sakatha lives in a great temple in the heart of the swamp. Do you have interest in Sakatha?
We have interest in removing Sakatha. We have interest in dealing with Sakatha. We're not necessarily subscribing to the newsletter.
Sure. So he offers to take you to Sakatha on his raft if you would like to go with him.
Crazy person in a raft? I mean, this
Crazy
is just,
Steve.
This is just like that weekend in the Atchafalaya Basin. We have to say yes.
Crazy Steve's raft ride, the newest ride coming to Disneyland.
Right, exactly. This is bandy-legged,
yes,
crazy, shaky, armed, bug-eyed, bristle-haired, one single unidentifiable animal pelt covering his entire body, and the man's got a swamp boat.
He's
just a small business owner in South Louisiana. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just traditional living. That is subsistence culture. I trust Steve more than I have trusted any other person this entire time.
He did just confirm that all of the evil things that everyone else said that had been heard were happening, but didn't believe for whatever reason are definitely happening, and you should definitely pay attention to them.
Yeah, Steve is the voice of reason. At the end of the day, this is Crazy
Steve, not the craziest person you're going to deal with.
But this is why
he is saying, Sakatha, my buddy, absolutely returned, renewing that kingdom, not dead at all, and he lives in a great temple in the heart of the swamp. And if we want to jump on my river raft, my swamp boat, I'll take you right to his doorstep. Thumbs up from Crazy Steve.
But this is like Crazy Steve of the Swamp. Oh, Steve of the Swamp, what is your crazy wisdom? Is the perfect mesh with the insanity that is the typical adventurer. So
absolutely.
Yeah, we are happy to be here, and we are 1000% clicking you might not return for some time. Are you sure you wish to continue forward to this chapter of the game? It's yes, we're getting on Steve's boat and we're taking the boat ride.
You're hitting okay without reading the message.
Nope, I don't care.
No.
I don't care
I
whatever
want to go
side
on
quests
Crazy
there were.
Steve's wild ride.
We're going on Crazy Steve's wild ride.
So there is one thing we need to wrap up, and this will be the end of this episode because we're almost halfway through as you have a potential way into the swamp. But there's one item that one might want to follow up on.
Okay.
And that, of course, is the cops.
Treme and the rest?
Yes, Bardo Treme
Yeah.
and the cops, right?
Yeah.
He says...
Oh, because they're all
tells
missing,
you-
yeah. So Treme was the only one.
Yeah, so he tells you where the guys are. He tells you they're in the cops, and that you know that they kind of attack at night. So you have your deal, right?
So we do have to wipe those bandits out.
But potentially, I mean, this would be your choice. If you decide to ignore that and continue on, you can totally do that.
But we were just told that.
But are you gonna?
We were just told that the only guy left in town is leaving.
Yeah.
Steve is going to be here no matter
skip
what, and Steve's coming with us. If anything, we're taking the only person in town who's in danger, and we're taking him out of harm's way by riding his crazy-ass freaky swamp boat and munching down on jambalaya the whole way.
So let's say for sake of completionism,
let's say
I agree with you. I fully agree with you.
Let's say
if you find Crazy Steve, you go, well, everyone else has left. Why do I care about these brigands?
Right.
I believe you're using logic.
But let's say Azure is required. Like Azure has not met her quota of souls to be sent to the God Emperor of mankind, and there are heretics that need smiting.
100%. So, I mean, and what's the worst that could happen?
We have turned Azure into a modern day D&D paladin along the way, but I feel it's justified.
Yeah, right. And again, what's the worst that can happen?
I can imagine pretty badly, considering this is Mark Aker, who's writing this module, who's been giving us decoy dude 1 and 2.
Mark Akers did not come to play. He did not come to play today. So you stake out the cops, you wait. After a while, a couple of figures go making their way across the meadow in the dark of night, leather armor, carrying shields and spears. They get to the middle of the meadow, they stop, and they start yelling, "Death to the Count of Or! Death to the weakling, stupid city rats! He sins against us!"
I mean, it's really helpful when the heretics just out themselves like that. It just makes like calling in the A10s even easier, just warthogging all over that cops.
Oh yeah. So I mean, not to get all Admiral Akbar on you.
But clearly it's trap.
I mean, it's clear. This is clearly a trap.
The only thing that would have made it more clear is if they just walked out and said, "Stupid adventurers say what in charge?"
That's actually what they did. I mean,
that's basically it. Stupid adventurers say what and roll initiative. Man.
And there's two of them. Like, this is the genius behind this. It's so it goes from maybe this is a trap to this is definitely a trap because it's so obvious to it's definitely a trap, but I gotta be able to beat these guys, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's two guys. So your party rolls out,
it's 2 out of 40.
It's 2 against 40. What could happen? You roll out. Naturally, you see a large dark winged reptilian shape fly across the full moon and begin to dive toward you.
Oh, shit.
That reptilian shape is the black dragon Olicus.
We did it! We hit the dragon before the dungeon!
His spells, which he casts at 7th level of ability, are...
Oh, Jesus!
Charm Person, Magic Missile, Protection from Good, because every black dragon always has protection from good. Dancing Lights, which he will use to illuminate your corpses.
Oh, shit.
Comprehend Languages, so he can understand what you're screaming as you die.
Listen.
Jump, not that he needs it because he can fly. And something called Affect Normal Fires, which
It's
has
like
such a
pyromancy
pedestrian
or
name. Has such a
Yeah.
pedestrian name. It must be the most useful evil thing in
You
the
can
world.
only imagine. Like
Aulacus will attack from the air. He will prefer to use his breath weapon and spells, avoiding melee until the party is weakened. He is a tough, experienced dragon who will attempt to neutralize the party's magic users first, then go after the rest.
Listen, I joked about calling in an A10 Warthog hit on a ground target, but that's what they legitimately did, and I have nothing but respect for that. It's like, you know
Mark
what?
Akers
You know
just
what?
dropped a black dragon on your face.
Respect. I'll take that. They called in air support, and it was mightily effective.
Yeah, I mean, it worked. Now, let's say you start to win in the battle against Aulacus, right?
Right.
He flies away.
Okay, granted, here's the thing. Most dragon encounters that I have run that have not been immediate party wipes in the first round, they usually kill the dragon in the first round or two, because their action economy is really strong and they're able to chew through a mass amount of hit points, especially around 5th or 7th level. A dragon that can take a first round hit and then decide, nope, and then just disappear, fucking brilliant.
Yep. He comes in, he spends as many rounds as need be, basically flyby, breath attack, magic missiling you. As he flies away, I assume he hits you all with magic missiles, just as a final parting fuck you.
Yeah.
And he flies off. Aulacus has done so.
The party takes cover. They have a shield phalanx going on. That's what magic missile is designed for, baby.
Going around shield phalanxes. And it's at 7th level, so you can hit every single one of you at least once.
Oh. Yeah.
Better hope no one had 1 hit point.
That's a flying fortress. That is just a mobile weapons platform, and it was designed to do exactly what it's going to do, and that is just brrr all over everything on the ground. But we've had an attempted assassination that may very well wipe out several party members and force you to reconscript some people. We've had hill giants, giant ants, ogres. We've had fake out old man number
wolves.
1. 15 wolves.
Fake out old man number
right?
1.
That Midwestern wolf conference where everybody flies out and they're all just handing out business cards and networking. We've had, fake old man fake out number 1 and sweet ass swamp boat Steve, the most effective and useful NPC in this entire game thus far.
Legitimately crazy.
And then you've
had songs.
Yeah. You've had a banger like, dropping air support dragon with a bunch of brigands. Like, this is what they mean by looming evil. This is legitimately looming evil. That explains. Okay, how did dragon? Really? Brigands with a dragon. And the dragon is just like, well, you should have led with that.
You only saw 2. I mean, people did see. They thought they saw a shape, but they said they saw a lot of things. Now, remember, you only saw 2 brigands, and so maybe we should be asking yourself some questions about why were there only 2 brigands and a dragon, and not 40 brigands and a dragon.
Well, assume the 40 brigands are waiting for the dragon to do what the dragon is going to do, and then they show up out of the thing. If you kill the dragon, is there only 2 brigands and that's it?
There's only 2 brigands and that's it, baby.
Jesus. Holy shit.
So, hey, Russ.
Hey, Jeremy.
Who told you about the brigands?
Wait a minute.
Who told you about the brigands?
It's the innkeeper.
No, the innkeeper didn't tell you about the brigands. He said that there were brigand attacks. He didn't say they lived behind his inn.
Was it Tremay? Was it Barto Tremay? Did that son of a bitch? Oh, did that son of a bitch? Barto Tremay.
I had to point out the genius of Mark Akers here, because he sets you up with a fake old man, and then he sets you up with the double bluff of the real Barto Tremay, but a real Barto Tremay armed by Sakatha.
Oh, charmed by Sakatha. Okay. See that's a deep cut.
No way to figure that out.
That's a deep.
No way to
cut.
figure that out. Given
None, zero whatsoever.
none. He just tells you, hey, go over here and rescue people and fight brigands that don't exist. And you'll have to fight an A10 warthog. And then I'm just gonna leave. And he did.
Damn.
We have made a new friend. We have encountered a dragon or didn't encounter the dragon, depending on what reality looks like for the party.
To be short, fuckery is afoot.
Yes, lots going on. But now, at long last, we are staring down the barrel of the great southern swamp.
We did it. We're swamp people now.
We're finally at the geographic feature wherein contains the dungeon. That
we get to take the dope-ass Disney train to the fun fucking part of the game.
That's right. Maybe. And I say maybe, of course, because this is... Okay, so the most important part of a D&D game, right, is being able to play it and being able to like continue forward, right? So basically, when the party reaches the Great Southern Swamp, in you don't necessarily have Crazy Swamp Steve with you, right? As you know, we went through, you killed the initial decoy old man. Now you've run into Swamp Steve. If you're just kind of murder hoboing your way through the thing, you may not have
in the great trans tradition of murder hoboing.
Yes, you may not have Steve with you. Here's the problem: if you make the decision to not trust Steve, who is legitimately crazy, or
and
you
is
kill him.
just largely untrustworthy coded.
Sure, he's untrustworthy coded 100%. Or you kill him. You're basically fucked. You need Steve. Steve is not only the guy who believes everything that's happening, and spoiler alert, is right, but you need him, and I will tell you why. Because the swamp ahead of you, according to the module, it said like the map is for the DM's use only. You guys don't get a map, okay? You will need to make your own map, and this is a thing in AD&D where mapping was definitely a thing. Usually in dungeons, where you would play sort of theater of the mind, and the players would like be mapping, and there's even rules for like you can't map while you're running away, and it's pretty fun. So
it's an interesting look back at how original like kind of what the game experience was. You had a caller.
Yes.
They were supposed to be the person who was the kind of like, this is what our party is doing after some quick and hushed conversation. The thing where DMs count down. The things where DM's like, nope, the action is rolling forward.
Yes,
if you guys do nothing, it is essentially the same as not touching your controller during live action.
Yes,
it's definitely not the kind of thing that is just like, oh, we're just wait until the players are ready. Right.
Except the controller analogy almost works, except it'd be like if you didn't touch your controller and then your PS5 got up and walked out of your house because you can't play anymore. So I'm just going to read to you what it says as far as getting to the dungeon, right? As far as getting to the titular tomb of the Lizard King. A party that has Crazy Steve along will be at a great advantage. The route Steve will follow is marked on your map. Again, the map that the players don't get to see. And you can guide the players in making their own map accordingly. During any type of encounter, Steven should take no part, blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. It will be extremely easy for a party without Crazy Steve to become hopelessly lost in the swamp without ever finding the tomb. That's the end of the game.
That is the classic, oh, you chose option 3 to go to page 27. Well, guess what? The adventure just ends.
Yes, you're done.
You have to go back and start all over again.
And the book bursts into flames. Like, and you might be thinking, okay, well, we don't have Steve for whatever reason. We don't trust him because, I don't know, he's a crazy hermit on the edge of the swamp that talks like the Lizard King is his buddy. The map is not conducive to you being able to find your way there. It's a big map. Going Crazy Steve's route is actually is 25 miles total. And on his raft, you're able to move 5 miles every 12-hour period. So with Crazy Steve following all of his instructions, you will get there, assuming 6-ish hours of sleep, right? You're going to get there in 4 days.
Hold on. 5 miles every 12 hours?
5 miles every 12-hour period. And you have to sleep or you'll start to get exhausted. So yeah, you've got 5 miles every 12 hours. Characters on foot will only be able to move 2 hexes or 2 miles per day if they maintain a good supply of food and get adequate rest.
Okay, like footing it through the swamp is a dumbass idea.
Yes, you're done. You're screwed.
As a, former person who lived adjacent to swamps, that seems kind of pushing it. Like Steve sounds like he's milking it. Like he's getting paid by the hour. But he's not actually getting paid by the destination.
Sure. He does go a little bit out of the way. But a direct line, if you had a bead on the tomb, you're still at least 15 miles away. Maybe closer to 18 miles away.
Yeah. But that's still I could see it taking a day or two.
Yeah, no, this is going to take you a long time. This is going to take you at minimum with keeping your raft the entire time, because spoiler alert, that may not happen. Keeping Steve alive the whole time, following his path just to get to the place. It's going to take you, we'll call it 4 days, right?
Yep.
So we have arrived yet again at a random encounter table. Southern Swamp random encounters. Yes, swamp encounters. Now, before, as you will recall, you were rolling 3 possible encounters a day when you were on the road to Waycombe, and you had a 1 in 12 chance of running into a random encounter. Now you're rolling 6 times per day: morning, noon, evening, night, midnight, and pre-dawn, because fuck sleeping. And you roll a D8. On a 1 for the D8, you get your random encounter. So, as usual, let's go through the random encounter table. Number 1, giant frogs. 6 of them. These frogs are 150 pounds, if you were wondering how giant frogs are. Can and will capsize your Piro.
Imported straight from Konosuba. They are going to eat the party members and leave their legs dangling out of their mouths.
Yes,
as comically as possible.
Yes. A classic cartoon caper. Number 2, hobgoblins. Armed with swords and composite bows, you have a sergeant and 2 assistants. They will attempt to surprise the party with their missile weapons before the party spots them.
Surprise! We're totally viable captives for the Lizard King.
That's right.
And yet here we are, just waylaying swamp folk.
That's 20 hobgoblins, mind you. Again, everything here is, you're not fighting 2 guys. You got everybody. Next, number 3, giant snake. 1 big old constrictor snake. 31 hit points. Literally drops out of the overhanging trees to attack the party. You literally get drop beared by a giant constrictor snake that starts to consume you.
And also like a 31, that's a giant snake like that. Big, hefty, probably weighty.
Oh, yeah.
I would be making rolls on that raft.
Oh, yeah. You may capsize the raft. Again, if you lose the raft, you're going 2 miles a day. And you have
Well,
you're
you're
looking,
probably like you're probably lashing something together and making a rough
hopefully.
like get two logs, get them together, and make a rough kind of dugout canoe where you're sitting on top and trying to pole your way through it.
Right. I mean, if your DM allows, I will say there's nothing in here that says you're allowed to do that. That says you can do that. But again, you're looking at a slightly less than one encounter per day. So if you're in this beast for 20 days, you're going to be dealing with a lot of hobgoblins, a lot of giant frogs, a lot of those giant snakes. Just stay away from all trees.
Now, this is where, as a dungeon master, I feel like random encounters, like if we look at, yes, random encounters are meant to be there in order to give a way to get more monsters, to create danger and suspense, even during the relatively mundane travel. We've established by this point, with the giant ants and the hill giants just hucking boulders from 3 leagues over, that travel is dangerous. Being out in the wilds is just a dangerous and dumb and crazy proposition to enhance our understanding that, these people are just built different, that they would want to go out on the roads at all. And now you're in a swamp where there are undead things that you're intentionally looking for. If you're a dungeon master and you're trying to figure out, okay, I have these random encounter tables. Do I really need them? Do I really want to use them? The answer is always yes. You should be using them. But I think that there are ways we can take these and at least put a little bit of intelligence behind them. You're in a swamp, and a lot of the things you're dealing with are likely coming out at night. For me, it feels like let's double up on the rolls that we have around evening, around dusk, maybe even shortly after, and then add a roll for the midday, add a roll for just, midnight, and then maybe give another couple more rolls before dawn, because you're going to have all this stuff really active and hunting for food right around sunset and just after, as well as dawn and just before. So it feels like this is key for that kind of place where your players might say, okay, we're going to have some random encounters during the day, and then we need to keep watch at night. And the reality is right around sunset, you are double boned. And right around sunrise, you are triple boned. In between, you might be able to get some shut-eye.
Well, I mean, one can hope. So upcoming after that, we've had giant snakes, we've had giant frogs. Of course, then the next would then need to be giant lizards.
Classics.
We also have giant lizards, just your standard 7 giant lizards. Funny enough, there was an error in the module, and they also have giant toads on here, but they give them the same. This happened. This is why editors were so important. They gave them basically the exact same stats as the giant lizards.
It's the classic get Yankee, get Zerai problem.
Yes, right. Next, of course, every day you completely expect to see it. No explanation needed. A Catoblepaws.
All right, so Catoblepaws, right? Catoblepaws, I would argue, came back into vogue thanks to something I was just recently replaying, which is Final Fantasy 15. Where you're just like, what the hell is that giant sloop-necked thing that's just walking around in the water? And then you look at it and it's like, I don't think that's a real word. And then you look it up and realize, not only is it a real word, it's a mythical monster that has existed in mythos and video games and other games for a hell of a long time.
It was first described by Pliny the Elder.
Yep.
Initially, in history, it was initially African, said to resemble a Cape buffalo with a stare or breath that could turn people to stone or kill them. The Forgotten Realms wiki describes it as a miserable mix of a buffalo, dinosaur, warthog, and hippopotamus that lived in the swamps and wastelands. You are only facing one of them potentially here, which should go to show how not great it is for your party potentially. It does have a gaze attack. Its gaze causes death.
Good craftspeople choose their tools well. You only need one to get it done.
That's right. You only need one Catoblepaws to stare at your healer and kill them instantly.
which should be kind of like, you should come across this thing like from the side or the rear. You should only see part of it. And like, maybe you get that nature check out of somebody that's like, oh yeah, that's a water buffalo. We could get that for some food. We've been out in the swamp for a day or two. We got nothing left that's good. I mean, all the snacks got left in, the cleric's minivan back at camp because we, for some reason, couldn't put it on the raft, despite us clearly demonstrating to the dungeon master that through the theory of aqua dynamics, we could make it float.
Crazy Steve wouldn't have it.
Nope. Crazy Steve says, no devil machine
on my P-roll
on it. That Odyssey Voyager only goes so far. Voyage ends here.
Yeah, you attack it and it rises up out of the swamp and continues to rise and continues to rise.
Just that neck drags out and it's like, so this is... So why didn't you tell us we needed to end early? We could have just ended early.
It turns around. Expendable Ernie dies immediately.
You're like, and this is it. It doesn't even fight. It just looks at you.
It just stares at you and you die. Yeah. I can also stun you. I mean, I don't... you don't want to run into a Catoblepaws. Next,
the stunning I imagine is just the Clato, like it turns around and it's big giant never-ending story crazy wild looking Jim Henson motherfucker,
right?
And it just like kind of slightly blushes and looks down with big eyelashes and everybody's like, "Aw," and they're stunned. And then they die.
And then they're dead. Yeah. Up next, number 7, trolls. 2 trolls. In case you're curious, they do regenerate. To stop their regeneration, must be burned or immersed in acid to kill them.
Yeah, good luck getting a fire start in this swamp.
Yeah, no good. Everything's wet.
You are vulnerable to moist in this swamp.
Yes, moisturization. You won't have any issues with. Final on the random encounter table: 17 ghouls.
And there's the evidence that there is something afoot.
Yeah, 17 ghouls. They don't have a lot of hit points, but they can paralyze you by touching you. They're immune to a few things, and they're ghouls. Like, you don't want to deal with 17 of them.
Nah. Coming in, trying to paralyze, trying to eat, trying to turn, all nastiness. It's a good place to slide in like a little bit of torn clothing or a scrap of something that indicates an insignia, just something to tie it back to the people that have gone missing. Something that could be recognizable.
That's right. That's you're I feel like you're working ahead. Because we will get to that in a moment. So odds are, if you trust Crazy Steve, and you should with your life, you will probably run into 3 of these things along your journey through the southern swamp on your way to the outer sanctum, the ancient temple, and the outer sanctum of the ancient temple. But you now have arrived to the dungeon. We are at the dungeon officially.
Thanks to Crazy Steve Swamp Tours. Sign up for your season passes now and follow Crazy Steve on Blue Sky.
Yeah, he doesn't mess with any of the corporate social medias. He's on Blue Sky and Blue Sky only, baby. And he's got a phone without a logo.
Catoblepaws tours.
Come see the great Catoblepaws in the southern swamp.
2 Electrum, and you get to feed Toby by hand.
Toby the Catoblepaws, Jesus.
Toby the Catoblepaws is like the patron saint of that swamp, right? Like at one point, they probably wanted to drain the swamp in order to, actually start to do some real development.
Sure.
But he's a Catoblepaws, right? He's so everybody knows him. Long time, he's the only one in the area. Got to be endangered. Got to be protected. No way that Toby is going to let that shit pass.
So you've arrived at the ancient temple. Built into the side of a huge mound of muddy earth, rises abruptly out of the swamp. You find water's the only way to reach it, so you definitely need that Piro that you are in. So you start off in the outer sanctum. And I'm going to read to you sort of what it has here to be read. After more than enough travel through these horrid swamps, you finally see a huge stone platform ahead of you, rising out of the water in the side of a sheer, muddy mound. On the surface of this platform, a few marble columns still reach toward the open sky. Others have fallen over and broken. 3 well-worn steps ascend from the water itself to the surface of this marble platform. A number of small skiffs are tied to spikes driven into these steps. At the extreme rear of the platform, you can see some type of decorated wall. So at this point, as you're climbing onto the temple, Steve starts to get super overexcited. He starts to get really upsetty spaghetti. So he's there it is. That's where my good friend Sakatha lives. Sakatha. Maybe he could tame the snakes in my hair. I really feel like he needs like an old gold prospector voice. But I feel like that's being too stereotypical.
I mean, Crazy Steve cannot be bound by one idiom, right? He's got to be someone who's seen the world, traveled around. He's erudite, our Steve. He's hashtag Toby Strong. He is absolutely not someone that is just going to be easy to put into one single box. When he is happy and genuine, the world is happy with him.
Yes. When he is not happy, the world is unhappy with him. And if the party does nothing, if they decide to hang out here on the front stoop, he's gonna become greatly agitated because he wants you to meet his good friend Sakatha.
Well, I brought you all the way here. I expected you to be able to come inside. I mean, there's only so much gravy to go around. It's going to get cold. You're not going to want that gravy. I told Sakatha earlier that you better make sure that gravy is ready for you. And if you just wait out here, I don't understand.
That's Chef's mom. That's Chef's mom from South Park, if I've ever heard it. When I gave the monster to Tree Fitty.
Oh, you don't get that monster no Tree Fitty. I told you time and time again, you're not supposed to give that monster no Tree Fitty. I keep coming back. That's why I keep coming back, because you keep giving him that Tree Fitty.
They definitely have a shack out near Crazy Steve's. They're his neighbors for sure. So as you mentioned, as you approach it, there's a 1 in 6 chance per party member, and if you have a party of 30, as you should to survive this, you're gonna see this. They will notice a body just below the water in the center of the stone stairs. Investigation reveals a fighter, still in armor but with no weapon, wearing the livery of the Count of Or. The man has been shot in the back with a crossbow bolt.
And that's interesting that he's like shot through the armor in the back. But
on the stairs.
This should be the kind of moment that's like you see the body and then it just maybe kind of rolls over to reveal the arrow.
Right. Dun, dun, dun. Well, what does the arrow tell you, Russell?
That he doesn't know how to cover his 6.
Well, what else does the arrow tell you?
Well, I mean, clearly there were people here who know how to make crossbows, because if it's a bolt,
it's a bolt.
not an arrow.
Right.
That means it's a mechanical crossbow.
Sure.
So someone was able to make that, bring it, or there's like inter-party fighting.
Right. Or so someone like maybe, I don't know, a brigand. I don't know, maybe like 10 brigands hidden behind a fake wall that when you get close, the wall falls away and they all fire at you at the same time, kind of thing. Maybe you try to run away and then they fire at you again and they kill you. So the back wall that the players see is not a wall. It is a carefully made screen of seashells, which you will think is, oh, that's nice. And it's like something you'd see at like a beach gift store before they fall away and 10 brigands unleash a lot of crossbow bolts at you in the party.
Arts and crafts time was a success and you doubted us.
So you got to take on these. You take on these 10 brigands. It's your first actual encounter with the brigands you've heard everything about. Regular old guys armed with light crossbows.
Now hold on. The 2 guys that had the fighting with the dragon, were those brigands too?
They were, but I mean, they
were just like the 2 scouts. They
were there to lure you into the open field so the dragon could kill you.
Yeah.
I think if I remember that part of the module, if you follow them into the woods, like you find a little bit of a hideout, but there's really nothing there. It's literally just the 2 of them. And there's a good reason for that, which will become apparent very soon. So during this battle, it's very highly likely that Crazy Steve is either killed or runs off into the swamp screaming. So,
I mean, I would say there's an equal chance that someone uses Crazy Steve as a human shield.
well, the core here is that Steve is not going to. He's brought you as far as he can bring you. He is Indiana Jones's dad and the Nazi at the doorway to, Indy has to go alone. You are Indy. You have to go alone. So you move from, once you've taken care of your guards here, you move into the inner sanctum. The inner sanctum, behind the curtain, another big chamber, open to the sky. There's a bas relief carved rear stone wall into this chamber. There are also 3 large pools about 10 feet across. They're covered with scummy green algae, as you might imagine. You move in there. You've dealt with the brigands, and this is the next relatively big encounter. As you move in, the bas relief appears to be a where was that? It's a bas relief of a demon with his mouth open. The only way to open the door, if you get to the point of opening the door, is you have to put a gem in the open mouth of the demon or use the knock spell. No other way to open it. This is going to become a running theme of doors with one specific way to open that you're not really ever told how to open it. And if you can't
without
open
really
it,
like good breadcrumby crews lying around.
Yeah, if you can't open it, you just can't open it. So this is the first one of those that's like, how are they going to get this open? This one actually, though, has an answer, which we'll get to. So you have your 3 pools, scummy algae, you go in, the party's looking around, you've taken care of all the brigands. That's great. The pools are home of water weirds, which then pop out and attempt to kill you. After 2 rounds of the water weirds, the big bas relief that you saw before opens up, and you remember the black dragon from before, Olycus?
Right.
He comes out. And so now you have to deal with the water weirds and Olycus the black dragon. Now, if you killed him earlier, if in some other game you decided to take him down, obviously he's not here. But this is the part where he appears and you actually get to fight him, ideally to the death. Again, Olycus is a very old black dragon. He's got 49 hit points. He's got a breath weapon. All his spells, which he casts at like level 7, level 8, are pretty gnarly. He opens the door. Who is disturbing my guards and my rest? His guards, of course, are the water weirds. So now you're dealing with the dragon and the water weirds. His preferred method of attack: fly above the party, use his breath weapon and his spells, and then once you're nice and softened up, land and give you the old 1-2, the old dragony 1-2.
Yep.
Yeah, so now you get to face the dragon. If you felt like you were missing out on the dragon before, don't worry, we got you. The Olycus returns, baby.
Somehow, Olycus returns.
Yes, Olycus is back. You were not missing out on our good friend Olycus.
So it's an interesting thing with a dragon that's like, you get a preview of the dragon, then you have the fight here at the temple. Dragons deserve motivation.
Yes.
Dragons deserve big reasons. And it sounds like there's a reason why they're at this temple, which I would hope, but remain kind of prepared to be disappointed that it doesn't really ever materialize. He's a dragon. This is a dungeon. You're supposed to have one and the other. It's why peanut butter and jelly always lie next to each other on the shelf.
Well, Mark Akers does not disappoint. He does have a very good reason for Olycus to be here. Olycus has been here since he was a young dragon, and he is working directly for Sakatha and has been for the majority of his life. Sakatha gives him a nice place to keep his treasure and a bunch of people to eat. And Olycus, not exactly the most ambitious of dragons, is pretty happy to hang around and kill and eat anything that comes into the swamp, or that is just in the general area around, because he's got no one screws with his nest. He doesn't really even have to guard it. Everyone knows not to mess with it because he's got the hand wave, he's got the bro nod of Sakatha.
It's like, I know that I'm living above the garage, but all my stuff is here. There's a beer fridge downstairs that I can raid. I mean, I can bike to work. And have you seen the price of like what it would take to get a loan these days?
That's right.
Like, just because I'm 38 now doesn't mean that like my parents and I don't have a good relationship.
That's right.
Right? Sakatha's like, did you just call me your dad?
Not like my dad, but like, I mean, we're kind of the same speed. I mean, only if you're cool with it.
You can. It's okay, Dad. I've already made the Dad Katha t-shirts.
So, have you seen Rent? I mean, sometimes Sakatha doesn't even charge me rent.
Remember, it's the family you find, not the one you're born into.
That's right. That's right. So, assuming you take care of Alicus, who will fight to the death, and it says he's not giving you any information, so he's pretty serious about his affection for his dad. I mean, Sakatha.
You're not beating the Dad Katha.
No. He has though opened that secret door, so giving you a little bit of a heads up that there are going to be some secret doors you're going to be dealing with. And you find the lair of Alicus. In the lair of Alicus, he has a treasure. So you're starting out the dungeon with a dragon's hoard. In it, you find 13,000 copper pieces, 25,000 silver pieces, 10 base 10 gold piece gems, 20 base 50 gold piece gems, 30 base 100 gold piece gems, 35 base 500 gold piece gems, 10 base 1,000 gold piece gems, 1 potion of dragon control, could have fucking used that earlier, 1 potion of fire resistance, a +1 flail, a +1 plate mail, a sword, +1 or +4 defender sword, and a scroll of protection from undead.
I'm still looking at the like fire potion askance. Like, really? Are you signaling something to us?
The 1 potion of fire resistance? I mean,
fire is a ubiquitous spell.
Sure.
That anyone would have access to.
Sure. You've already encountered it once. There a mysterious false cleric. He flame striked everybody. That would have been nice to have back there.
Literally too. While you're still on the launch pad to the adventure.
That's right. In addition to the treasures, if you decide to look through the Water Weirds pools, which of course you are, you're adventurers in AD&D, you are going to find 7 pieces of jewelry, 8,000 gold pieces, 12,000 gold pieces, 1,500 gold pieces, 2,800 gold pieces, 3,000 gold pieces, and a 10,000 gold piece platinum tiara with 3 rubies, 16,000 platinum pieces, 1,600 platinum pieces, 1,300 platinum pieces, and a potion of polymorph self. So you have hit the fucking jackpot. Already, this is the front door. You found these are their Amazon packages, right? and this is, again, this will continue in as we go. It's a lot of treasure, and it starts to get to a point of logistics, right? If you're used to going into a place, if you're used to going into a dungeon or whatever, and taking all of the stuff out with you, probably not happening here. You are going to be inundated with treasure, piles of coins of all denominations, tons of gems, tons of art objects, and it gives you a price for everything. So these are groups who would come into these dungeons and literally take anything that was not bolted to the floor. And if they had their crowbar on you, which a good adventurer always will, they'll take the stuff bolted to the floor too.
Just making their way out like a family leaving the hotel at the end of a long vacation.
That's right. Bulging. And all the clothes are bulging. One guy's wearing 4 robes. Like
as just normally wearing them atop their clothing while checking out.
Yeah, you are going to eat good in this dungeon, presuming you survive.
Mm-hmm.
So, from the lair, there is a secret door which you're able to find, that leads down into what we will call dungeon level 1. So now you're hanging out in dungeon level 1. So here's what to keep in mind that the DM is having to kind of consider while he's running this, right? One is the time, the actual physical time, the number of rounds that things are happening. Because in an ideal world, in this module, you would be in turn order, for lack of a better term, the whole time that you're actually playing the game, right? Everyone would move individually. You would go through, and I mean, you talk about dungeon crawl. You're 100% army dungeon crawling, right?
Right.
And the DM would be keeping track of all of this time that you're spending in the dungeon, because as you will see once we get to the end, the longer you're here, the more things at the end of the dungeon change. Things actually happen. Behind the scenes right now, as we know, Sakatha's been scrying on the party the entire time. And this is where he stops, because he believes the dragon got him, right? You're not getting past the dragon. All of this has been there for 400 years. He's eaten everything else. No reason to think he's not going to eat these fucking guys. Game over for the guys. So literally behind the scenes, Sakatha's going to have a nap. And you have the length of one Sakatha nap to make it to him.
So we have a nap going on. We have like Sakatha sleep, right?
Yeah.
Is it just like the snaky kind of torpor of, well, I'm past my sun period, so I need to lay down until we get another chance to bask on the warm rock again?
I mean, it might be that. It might be something completely different than that. Hint, hint, hint. You might not know everything there is to know about Sakatha. So let's roll into dungeon level 1 with what else are we going to roll into here? Random encounters for level 1.
There we go.
So in addition to regular encounters you have in the dungeon, and there are lots of those, you're going to run into random encounters for dungeon level 1. Literally works like this. Roll a d10 every 3 game turns to check for an encounter. If you roll a 1 or a 2, then you get a random encounter. We're gonna blow through these random encounters pretty quickly, because we are going to get to the actual meat of the dungeon. But just keep in mind, any of these things may pop up in the middle of what you're fighting, while you're looking through an empty room, while you're walking down a hallway, while you're being, crushed by rocks, anything that might happen. Number 1, lizard men. 5 lizard men. They are lizard men. They are here. They're from the tomb below. They're just going outside for some fresh air and to kick the ball around. They see you. They try to kill you, and they attempt to raise an alarm. Again, if you make too much noise, you're going to let a lot of people know that you're here. So you're not going to get any. You're not going to get any sort of potential surprise off of folks.
Now, this is the first real encounter with lizard folk by this point, right?
Well, we had the one before that you could potentially have run into, and then we had the one at the bridge where the lizard folk where the lizard men did actually attack you, and you had to sort of ward them off. But these are the first. These are the first ones. These are the first ones, like in what is effectively Sakatha's lair. Yeah. And they're literally just on the way out too, because despite all that's happened, despite the giant dragon battle with the water weirds and the brigands up top that you slaughtered, you're coming into this dungeon. Everyone's already assuming you're already dead, so you've already beaten the odds, which is great.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the dragon out front was for.
Yeah, the dragon out front was to eat you. If you beat him, then you at least get a little bit of a moment of surprise. Presuming you didn't make a lot of noise beating the dragon. I don't know how you would avoid that, but hey, that's up to you to figure out, not the DM.
Which is kind of it's an interestingly intelligent dungeon design.
Yeah.
Put giant monster at mouth of cavern now safe.
Right.
And
I mean,
then
typically your idea, at least as far as how D&D works, is the dragon is at the end of the dungeon, right? No. Put the dragon at the beginning of the dungeon. That
but
way,
the story's going to escalate upward.
No. Then you don't have to reset your traps if you're the bad guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
you know how
also,
long that takes?
it does follow a kind of act structure. If you don't consider the dragon the beginning of this dungeon,
Yeah.
you consider the dragon the last of that god awful trip through the swamp.
That's right. Of your trip from sitting outside the throne room to stepping into dungeon level 1.
Yes.
Including possibly two encounters with the dragon. So yeah, 5 lizard men heading on their way outside to have some fun, and they see you and they attack. 10 more brigands. Get used to brigands, baby, because they are all over the place. Armor, shield, swords. They're just running an errand, picking up coffee for somebody. They are ready to kick your ass unless you have an obviously very powerful party, which God, hopefully you do. Then they run off to raise an alarm, so you have to stop them.
That also sounds like the kind of thing that your 20 retainers could potentially handle.
Maybe so, if you have really good retainers, and at this point, you probably do.
Yep.
Clerics, you just get. They give you 6 named clerics. Appear to be men dressed in black robes with silver trim. Beneath these silver robes, they have chainmail and armor. They are chaotic evil and will attack on sight. So you get to fight a bunch of. Yeah, 100%. You're dealing with quite a few cultists. These cultists have magic armor. They have magic weapons. Hammer +2, possesses a ring of fire resistance, protection, scroll of protection from magic, plate mail +1, mace +1. They are loaded for bear, and there are 6 of them. So
in the galaxy brain meme, like low effort brain, small brain is like cultists.
Mhm.
Medium-sized brain is potential line on information to what Sakatha is really happening here. Larger size brain is dangerous group set to hunt down players and provide real rivals, antagonists. Galaxy brain is just targeting every single one of those magic items and just like loot pinata.
Absolutely.
Like, you walked in here with multiple magic items? No, they're not one-use items that you're going to spend on us. No, you were sent to die.
Yeah.
You were sent to give us the things that we need.
It's like that old Mitch Hedberg joke. I like the postman because he's a drug dealer and he doesn't even know it. I like these clerics because they're postal workers specifically for magic items and they don't even know it. So the first couple,
look, the walking treasure table from the end of the book has suddenly decided to come greet us and tell us about the glory of Zagoth.
I'm going to give you their names. There's Avril, which when this module was written, there was not a famous
of the
person.
Westchester Levines.
Yes, it was not a famous person named Avril.
I'm sorry, of the Toronto Levines.
there's
my cousin Adam.
There's Balfour, good one, and then there's Cruth or Cruth.
That's Cruth with like an umlaut.
Yeah. At this point, really, Avril and Balthor are the like heavies. They've got the magic plate armor and the hammers and the maces and all of the fun stuff. The rest of the guys are kind of scrubs. Cruth has a 10% chance of spell failure. Dolmore has a 10% chance of spell failure and a scroll of protection from lycanthropies.
Are the players? Did players drag like muzzled werewolves with them?
I mean, I don't know where this guy got his scroll of protection from lycanthropies, but he's got one.
Closet furry, calling it now.
I don't know. He wouldn't want protection then.
No. Protection from furries by Durex.
I gotcha. Ephron, who has a staff of striking with 51 charges and a 5% chance of spell failure. Forel, he has a 5% chance of spell failure, and they all have a little bit of gold. So you basically get this wandering group of cleric cultists. But this leads us to a little bit of let's do a little bit of categorization, right? we're dealing with, you have what are effectively three main groups of people here, right?
Yep.
You've got lizard men, you've got cultists of some description, and you have brigands.
Yep.
Those are your three flavor of bad guys that are in this dungeon, all of which were set up. You heard the clerics you met on the road, the good clerics. Well, I'm not going to make a judgment on the clerics one way or the other, but the clerics were like, oh, there was some evil demon worshipping-ness going on in the woods. Set up. Obviously, the lizard folk are set up, and then the brigands were the ones who were kind of the catalysts for you guys coming in here. So you've got your players. They're all on the stage now. It really feels like this adventure's starting to come together.
Right, we're finally getting random encounters that are all meaningful choices.
That's right.
That is the end of part 2 of Tomb of the Lizard King. What secrets remain to be uncovered? Will most of them poison us? Find out when we continue in part 3. We have a new release every other Tuesday. If you hate cliffhangers and like your podcasts long and all at once, we offer the entire episode from start to finish uninterrupted over on our Patreon. Find out more at our home base, analogdungeon.com. We'll see you next time.